March 22nd, Granby Housing Authority meeting. First is the annual plan presentation. We can do that.
Yep.
Action and information.
All right. So this piece of paper with the color schemes. All right. So the green are the boxes that we are looking at today. So what Jim and I went through and put into the plan for this year was to update the 4 handicapped apartments. The front doors to get into the building have the push button to get in. We have a gentleman over in one of the buildings in one of the apartments that has the remote from to get in and out of the apartment. He is a double amputee.
To get into the front door?
To get into his apartment.
Oh, his own personal apartment. Okay.
So what we did was we asked for money to update the back doors to the apartments, at least for the 2 of the gentlemen that are in wheelchairs. So then that way, should there be any type of situation, they can get out and they're not hindered in any way, shape, and form.
So it's their escape from
Yeah.
the building if there's a problem?
It would be by remote or like a push, no, like the push button. You would be able to push the button and the door would open instead of having to hold it, pull it open and finagle everything through.
First I thought you said they were amputee. You don't mean hands, you mean...
No, yeah.
Because you were saying then you had to push the buttons.
Yeah. The porch railing replace and repair up at Hillside. There are holes in some of the railings and it is a safety hazard, so we actually have the parts. They're putting new railings on one of the buildings, taking that railing apart and using that to replace the railings for the other pieces. So that was to cover the cost of that. To replace the unit appliances at turnover. Some of the stoves are getting up there, so we just asked for money to start doing some repairs to replace them when they need to. Stoves are getting expensive.
Are they the apartment-sized stoves?
Yeah, they're the little rinky-dink.
4-burner type
Yep,
thing?
little 4-burner, which are more expensive than regular stoves right now, so.
But there's not room for the big ones.
No, you can't put a big one in.
Are they electric or gas?
They're electric. And then we asked for, we put money in there to do renovations to the units at turnover for the kitchen and the bath to some of the apartments. The cabinetry and the countertops need to be replaced.
So
Make mine an apartment model.
so that's going to happen as each
Right.
apartment gets vacant?
Right,
Okay.
right. And then the last one is the roof replacement of Building 2's roof. That was supposed to be done with Building 1 and we didn't have enough money.
We had enough money until they sent all the people in to
So,
take it away.
yeah, the well fracking up at Hillside is going to be funded through compliance reserves from DHCD. So with that, it gave us an additional money, so we, I want to do Building 2 before the, all the paperwork like runs out and I have to have it, the architect do it again. So, so that's that. So those are the capital plans that, or improvement plans that we've decided on. And then if you're looking at the green spots, the ones that have the fish project number, those are the ones that are currently active from previous years and the ARPA funding ones.
If we're looking at what?
So if you're looking at the green spots,
The
Yeah.
Opera FF.
right, so the ones that have fish project numbers in the first column, those are all projects that are active and we already have the money for them to get them done.
Okay.
And then the other ones are the ones that we're putting into our plan to
Okay.
do.
And the blue ones are,
That's next year's. So that would be year 25.
has the money hasn't been appropriated
No.
for that yet?
No.
That's what you want to do?
5? Oh, so you were talking about 24 for this one.
Right. Year one is 20, yeah. So the green are the current projects that we have in there and what we want, what we're asking for money for.
And that goes to June of '24?
Right.
That's the fiscal year, not the calendar year?
Right.
Okay.
And then because they decided to give us the compliance reserves like a week ago, that's why there's this projects, the 1, 2, and 3. You have to keep this whole chart in balance percentage-wise and number-wise, so John had to, like, the roof replacement was pulled into this year from 2 years, from year 3, and then the hot water tank, the final hot water tank was pulled from year 5 to year 2. So we should have all the hot water tanks that we are currently renting replaced by the end of 26.
26 or 25?
26.
Okay.
Did anything else happen? We talked about it last time with the ceiling fan relocation.
Yep, that, I have that for in my notes.
Yeah.
So they're coming in the first week of April to do the testing,
Asbestos?
asbestos testing. Yeah.
But did you look into the thought they came up about shorter blades in the fans?
You
saying all that?
you can't replace the blades to shorter ones without having to replace the whole fan. So,
But wouldn't that?
Why, I've never heard of that.
well, you
Who said you can't do that?
You can't,
Or screwed on there.
what they're telling me is that
Broke it off.
you can't, so when I asked Jim about it, he said that if you have a 3-foot blade, and if you replace it with a 1.5-foot blade, it's really not doing anything, and it's not, then you have to go out and you have to find the specific one to fit the fans that are in there. They're all not the same, they're a bunch of different types, so he said it would be, we wouldn't be able to do it. But I can have him come next month to discuss it with you guys.
Well, I think it's a good option because having displaced the tenons and putting them up somewhere, that's,
Well, that we don't have to do. That I was going to get into in the director's report. They just said that they don't want the tenant in the apartment while they're doing the testing. They just take a little spot of it. They put like a plastic thing around it and they cut what they need to and then they take it down. There's no air quality testing and
So we're not committed at the point where they're taking
No.
the test? We're just
no,
seeing
we're
what's in
just
there.
seeing what's there.
And then we could say, we're not doing it.
Right. So, you said you had questions about the annual plan?
Well, there was just a couple of things. In fact, I thought at the end, where it gives up high charts and all that other stuff, that coded things from us to other same-size facilities that we have and the safe facilities, that they get 3 options. And I noticed that Granby came in higher than any of the other options that were listed in that
Which
pie
pie
sheet.
were you? Which-
I don't remember
Oh,
which
okay.
page, it was near the end.
Okay. No, I know, but which one? There's a bunch.
It was the last one, it said good overall report. So that would be the last one.
Overall satisfaction.
Yeah, and we came in better than the other ones, the other state ones in basic,
71%.
all the categories.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty good. And it also said that our maintenance staff was on top, some of the general comments that they were, most of the reports that they gave about the different functions, Granby came out better than the other ones and better than the state overall ones. So I think that that was pretty good to know that, that, as many problems as we seem to have, which we probably don't have as many as we think we have, we're doing better than most of the other facilities in the state. So that, I just thought that was kind of a nice thing to mention, because I think it's important. Out of the surveys, I noticed that we had 56 surveys that went out to the tenants, and we had 32 surveys that were returned. So I don't know what the issue was. They just didn't feel as though they had anything good, bad, or indifferent to say. But I thought that was okay, because that's over 50%
And that's a good
of the
turnout, yeah.
returns on that. We do have to anticipate the policies that we have. Do we have a list of the ones that we have here?
I have a list of policies.
Yeah, could you give us the total list of all the policies that we have in effect here?
Okay.
Not the other ones, not the DCHD ones, but our Granby ones. I'd like to have the list of those, if you care. If I don't know about the other guys, but I'd like to have a list of them. I know we're going to put in newer ones, but
I would like to see those policies go out to each tenant.
Well, we will.
When they move in, they get
To get
copies.
them when they move.
Well, yeah, I know, but we're still making a whole bunch of policies. I got 3 policies to present tonight, and, I
We're
don't
going
think-
to, yeah, that's why I asked for the list, since I'd like
When we did a
to.
new policy, we then distributed it. I thought, yeah, so they already have them, is what I thought.
Usually they're filed.
You
I
mean the
won't,
circular file?
yeah, and that file.
Yes, well, then
I
they're gonna
haven't
do it,
seen
if
any
we
at
do
my
it
door,
again.
that's what I'm trying to say.
You haven't what?
I haven't
Okay,
seen any
so-
policies at my door.
Well, the only ones that have come, we've
Okay.
done lately were the last one we did with the grievance policy. And that went out to everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the last policy we
And the ones
updated
about the
here.
lawn and all that, they went out to everybody.
Okay, can I just finish my comments here? On section, and I don't know which page it's on, because I couldn't see pages on my computer, but it was in section 4.0, the annual operating budget. And department, I guess it's 600. We had a loss. Is that a loss? Was
I
minus?
don't know what that number, what line that is on the budget.
Yeah, well, I don't know either. Like I said, it was the section
Hang on.
4.1, the annual operating budget. That was the section it was in.
4 point what?
4.1, the annual operating budget.
Let me look. Yeah, I see it.
Do you
Here's
see it?
4.1.
Yeah.
And it's the minus 12,710. It was, all those figures were minus, and I wondered if that, why they were all negative.
There are some, because you asked last month for me to check with Gary on why there are numbers that are always negative, and he said because those are always negative numbers.
Okay.
When it comes down to the
Then it
end of
goes
the, like especially the net meter credits,
Yeah, so
that
it's all of those.
is always a negative until the end of the year, and then it balances through.
Yeah.
But when I asked him last month on the numbers from the reports he gave us, he said that everything was fine, we didn't have anything to worry about.
Okay.
And that they're supposed to be that way.
That's
for
an
how it
okay
runs.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's an okay.
Okay, so I think that those were the only comments I had from that report that I jotted
will-
down anyway.
Look it up, I don't have a copy of it.
Yeah, well, it's, Jim has a copy. Does
Does it say what the line item is?
Page 5 section. Well, I don't have a page number.
I know, it didn't, because
Right, if it
each
says the
section had
account number,
pages.
it should say what the account title is.
It was section 4.1 annual operating budget.
Right.
That's
But
the-
you
that's
said
the only-
line 7600.
And it was 7,600, which is right at the bottom of that section.
Okay.
Because it gives, those were the bottom, the minus numbers were the last ones, so.
Right, because it gives the total revenue in 2022 is $432,000, and the total expenses was $508. So therefore, it was a deficit of $12,710.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
they're all negatives.
And the one before was, the next one, the actual amounts was $208,000 in the negative.
Yeah.
Because they only had this much money, but the expenses were $208,000 more. So if Gary's saying that's okay, I guess we have to believe him, but looking at it, it doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, it just kind of,
It throws you off.
everything was, we had so much money to spend, and we're spending, a few $100,000 more than that, or a few, whatever, some money's more anyway.
It's accounting voodoo.
Must be, yeah.
But doesn't negative in this mean credit?
No, a minus is a negative
If you have
number.
only this, you have a total revenue of this much, but the expenses are $12,000 more, you're short $12,000.
Okay, it does say excess revenue over expenses. That's what that line says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, those were just my comments
Okay.
and
But
things that I noticed, and I don't know if anybody else noticed anything or not, but
I just have one comment on the fans. Is each apartment?
Excuse me.
or is it
No.
just-
can we just deal with that after we get done with this budget? Because the fans
It's all
is,
part of the budget though, Gloria. It's part of the line
Okay.
item in the
it is on
budget.
this sheet here.
okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
Well, figure it out.
Is it gonna be, just one apartment's gonna be tested, or are you gonna do a handful of apartments?
They said between 8 and 10 apartments
8
are
and
being.
10 apartments?
Yeah,
I
they
can
have them.
guarantee there's gonna be, almost guarantee there's gonna be asbestos, and this is just, I hate to see those fans go away. It looks like it's gonna go that direction at this point. That's all I wanted to clarify for myself. There-
Hi. All right.
So we don't know what's happening with them anyway, right?
Not right now, no.
We're still waiting for the testing, but they're not going to test every apartment. They're just going to test a few, like a couple in each building or something, probably.
He said between 8 and 10 apartments would be tested.
And how many, we have 4 buildings, right?
We have 56 apartments.
I know, but we have 4 buildings. So they'll probably,
That's on them. They'll choose which ones, the company will choose which ones they
yeah.
do.
Well, it would make sense that they would test each building. It's
sure.
some in each building, 2 or 3, whatever. Because they could test all one building, and that
Yeah.
doesn't mean the other buildings, they were all built at the same time, right?
They're all built at the same time, so it
Yeah.
should be same materials.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll have a choice, you know what? We'll have to wait and see what the testing comes back, and then make a decision on how we want to go forth with it, I guess.
Any other questions on the annual plan? I need a motion
That
and
takes
a
a-
second.
You need a motion for the plan?
Make a motion to accept the plan as written and presented.
Motion made by Don,
Second.
second by Diane. Any other questions? Thoughts? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, 4-0. Thanks for your work on that, Tammy.
Yeah, that was a lot
Next.
of work.
Yeah. Minutes, March, not from March, minutes from February.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
February 22nd.
Yep.
All right, we'll just make sure.
Minutes from
February
February.
22nd, 2023. There were 3 of us here, myself, Gloria, and Diane. It looks like everything we did, we didn't do. Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes, February 22nd meeting.
Thanks, Diane. I'll second that.
Okay.
Look good?
Yeah.
Okay,
All in
all those
favor?
in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Don abstained from not being present. Financial report, March 2023.
Are we looking at the treasurer's report?
Yes.
Yeah, February 28th, 2023.
much money do they pet for the, charge for the pet
It's a $160 fee that you pay
initially?
initially.
They don't pay anything monthly or anything else like that?
No, there are, they can pay it monthly till it's paid off. It's however they choose.
Yeah, okay.
And then they get it back when they move out, right?
When they move out or the pet dies, or they get rid of the pet.
What about if there's pet damage?
If there's damage, then we keep it.
Okay. We still have rent issues, Tammy?
Yes, we are still having some rental issues. Of that, under the 667, under the 6471
Yep.
has been decreased by 3165. And then the family,
Gotten bigger.
yep, we're having some issues up there. They have, pretty much everyone that owes has applied for rental assistance. The rental assistance is an 8 to 12 week process, and when they let them know whether they're approved or denied. So that's just kind of an ongoing. One of those is the tenant we're waiting for a court date on.
Still haven't got that yet.
What is the typical rental a month about, average?
Our lowest is in the 200s, and our highest is 1,100.
At the family units?
Yeah. And here our lowest is roughly 200, and our highest is 9.
All right.
What do we have under construction? Is there something, are we constructing?
Oh, that's just the modernization balance. So those are the actual projects that are still open
Okay.
with money in them.
Which one's that, Gloria? Where are you looking?
The last
The last
page.
page,
Oh, I'm-
second page, the last line that goes across on the, 3/4 of the way down.
So if you look at it, these are the project numbers right here, and
Yeah.
then those, that's what happened, like, the ARPA funding came through, the trees up at Hillside, taking them down was part of the ARPA fund, so
Yeah.
I submitted the bill to DHCD to reimburse us, so that is, you know, so anytime there's a transaction or anything with the projects, that comes out on that form.
It's nice, but I don't know what those numbers mean, what department they are for or whatever.
Yeah,
So
they're,
it doesn't really,
Yeah.
you know, as long as there's an explanation,
That's
that's
the
all.
state system, yep.
And I noticed that our little figure on the bottom that says over, under 19,492, according to our accountant, that's a really good thing as long as
Right.
it's positive. So, anyway,
We're in line.
we are. We'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report for February 28, 2023.
Thank you, Gloria.
Second,
Second by Don. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
I'm going
Next
to,
is our warrant report. Dated 3/1 to 3/31.
is that supposed to be 3 or is it supposed to be 2?
it's always the current month that we're doing,
The warrant is?
yeah.
Okay. So our friend is going to a conference, that's good.
Anybody else want to come with us?
My wife wants to go.
Anybody else want to come?
Where is it, Tammy?
It is in Waltham.
Is that a one-day thing?
2 nights. It will be back Tuesday night.
You got an 8-page report from Don, term paper on his, what he learned there.
Right.
Check on the ceiling fans there when you're there.
Hey, so they've got the, DHCD's got their little room where you can go in and you can talk to all of them and
Good.
Get the scoop.
get the scoop on everything, and then they've got board member training, and
Yippee. And I get paid not much for it. But that's okay.
Well, the
Yeah,
food
thanks for
and the
going.
housing are all supplied, right? Food and housing while you're there?
yeah.
So at least you don't have to buy your own coffee.
The way I drink coffee, they might shut me up.
Oh, God. Well, you know what? I'm really glad that you're going, because I think it's important that somebody goes from here. And personally, I didn't even know about it, but I probably couldn't have
You
gone
want to come to the
anyway.
Cape one with me in the fall?
Yes, she will. She'd love to go to the Cape in the
Okay.
fall.
Is it Chatham?
No,
New,
It wasn't Chatham.
no, it's, oh, shoot.
New
where is it?
Falmouth.
North Falmouth,
New
yep.
Falmouth.
So the
Yeah.
one we're going to is nowhere near the beach.
No, I think there's a river out back.
It's a long walk to the beach.
Gotta love it. I'll bring my fishing pole.
Everybody enjoyed the snowless winter?
Oh, yes.
How are we enjoying
Thank
the snowy
goodness.
spring?
I hope we
Yeah.
are done with it.
No.
I hope we don't get a surprise one. So this thing for Amherst Pump House,
What page are you on?
page 4, the bottom of suburban propane.
Oh, yeah,
That was just to fill the tank,
at the
fill
pump
propane
house.
tank.
Yep.
Is that a big
Yeah, it's not a monthly thing that, I mean, it's like every 3 or 4 months, it's gotta be, it's not a, honestly, I wanna say it's like twice a year they come in and that's it.
Yeah, okay. It's not a monthly expense
It's not on a monthly
anyway.
bill, no. It's on a,
And we own the propane tank, right?
yeah.
On page 6, it says Comcast, other utility tenant. What is that 1,200 for?
That $1,200 is what the tenant, the cost it is for the tenants to have the cable, basic cable. And it is listed as an other, under the general ledger as other utility.
And we're paying that?
The laundry, it comes out of the laundry receipts. Oh, no, this one does. No, that's the 18, so that, they pay us 18 a month, which is, I think, $1,000,
So we are still under that same old
Yeah.
contract that we had with the tenants. They pay so much a month and,
Right. Our contract ends the end of '24, so
Okay,
the end
24.
of this year, I have to call the cable company and start the process, and then by June of next year, they will start contacting the tenants to get them what they want, so when the contract date ends that next month, it is an automatic rollover.
so
They're
the,
gonna go apartment to apartment, then that's what Comcast said. They're gonna,
They will talk to each
they will-
tenant directly.
Each tenant will be individually responsible for their own bill.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is, out of that 1,200, we probably pay 185 of it.
Out of the laundry receipts.
No, that comes, that hits the budget. The community room cable comes out of the laundry receipts because they watch the cable when they do their
Okay.
laundry.
Alrighty. Any other questions on the warrant report?
Motion to accept the warrant report
Thank you.
for March 1st to March 31st.
Thank you, Gloria.
Second.
Second by Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, Tammy, your report you have here.
We currently have one vacancy here at Finns Hill. We are probably going to have another one soon. They're just waiting to find a place for him to, with the 2 other nursing homes in the area closing, they're having some difficulty, so they're not going to give the apartment up until that's that. DHCD agreed to let us use the compliance reserves for the well fracking, which is a big relief, frees up a whole lot of money. They did the inspections yesterday. There were really no issues. Some health and safety, that some letters have to go out to tenants on conditions of apartment.
What do you mean by that?
Well, they're not allowed to be hoarders. They're not allowed to have a dirty apartment. It's all
And
part
what's
of,
happening?
yeah. There are, I think, 4 apartments.
What
So,
happens if they don't come into compliance?
we can evict them if we choose to push it. I think part of it is some issues with getting help.
Yeah.
To come in.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
can't do anything about that.
No, yeah, so the first thing is to send the letter, and then the second thing is to get a hold of the families and see about getting Mass Elder Care or somebody in to help them do
Elder at
certain.
risk?
Huh?
I mean, Greater Springfield Senior Services,
Right.
Elder at risk.
Yep. Yep, so it's, you know, that's something the family has to do, though. That's not something we do.
We can do that. Anybody can do that. Anyone can make a call.
Oh, I can make the, I understand I can make the call, but we typically, we go to the families first, and instead of making
Give
our.
them a chance to do
Yeah,
that.
and give them a chance to rectify it before we go anywhere else on that. Most of the time when that does happen and we do it, then they don't realize that
Yeah.
they need help, so that it comes in.
Yeah, they
So.
probably hear, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm
Yep,
fine. Yeah.
yep,
Are those
So.
yearly inspections?
yes.
You did that this week, right?
They did them yesterday.
Yeah,
Who's
I
they?
thought they were coming
Jim and
up.
Dakota.
Nancy used to do it, that's what I.
I'm not here on Tuesdays, and we had to get it done, so.
Wow, so if guys say, it's an issue, I mean, because.
Oh, they have to.
They have a list to check through, a check-off list or something?
Yeah, so they've got things that they have to look for, and then they have to take, if I'm not there with them and they feel it's a health and safety, they have to take pictures, so I have the documentation so I have all the documentation on it.
Okay.
So you said there's 4?
There's 4 or 5
Yeah.
that have letters, well, there's 4 health and safety and 1 other letter that went out on smoking in your apartment.
Yeah.
And
And what can be done about that?
the smoking, if we continue to catch him, then we can evict him. So, other than that,
Because that's a DHCD mandate.
and they sign when they move in that they're not going to smoke in their apartments,
Right.
so. So really, that's that. The asbestos, we've talked about, they're
Yep.
coming in to test.
They're doing that this week?
The first week of April, so in 2 weeks. Yeah.
And who was it that was doing that?
Green Counseling, Green Consumer, I don't know, Green something from Ludlow.
How long do the results take?
The results, he said he would have back in probably a week, week and a half, and then he would get everything compiled and he would get it to us. So I'm thinking in a month we should have
Maybe
everything.
by our next.
Yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Don?
I'm going to forego the commissioner's report because I've got 3 policies. Did you all get my email?
I did.
Yes,
You did.
Yeah.
Gloria did.
yes, I did.
I did not.
Okay.
Do you have copies, or we'll look at what we
No,
have?
I'm not that sophisticated. I can read it off my phone.
Let me see.
Yesterday.
This-
Let me see. So this one.
And I think that Don did a
Oh.
good research.
The bathroom's done. I forgot to tell you.
I figured it
On my
was.
way, I'm gonna test it out.
All right,
We want a
I'll
full
let you
report
know.
in writing.
all right,
If I get airsick, I'll let you know.
all right. It's not going any lower, Gloria.
Chris, go hold her hand.
Oh, dear. Here's your report.
Okay.
Here's your sign.
Let's see.
Oh, it really was high. It really was.
Tammy, can we knock the heat back a little? Thank you.
I thought it was just me.
No, I'm feeling, it's blowing pretty
Yeah.
warm.
Where did it go?
There you go. Just remind me to turn it back on.
Did it come yesterday, Diane? You didn't get it, huh?
Do you want me to print the email,
Yeah,
Don?
that'd be great, Tammy. Could you do that for me?
I didn't get it.
It's on here, but I can't tell what the...
Does she
Barry?
have the policies printed out?
Yeah, she's gonna get them now.
Okay.
Barry.diane05@gmail.
Yep, that should be it.
Barry.diane05@gmail.com.
I look at my email once a
Do you
day.
have your, is it on your phone?
I can, but I don't.
Oh, I was gonna say I could forward it to you again, but
She's gonna get
send
the
some
policies
copies.
out?
Yeah, she's gonna
Yeah.
print them off.
Yeah, I probably checked it before it came in.
I have to
checked
tell
it
you, they
before
did
it
a
was-
really good job.
Good,
The
Good.
tile and everything looks
Nice.
like it never has been touched
perfect.
from before, so,
So Gloria, have we met your expectations?
yes. What a
Perfect,
relief.
perfect.
You have to call the building inspector, let him inspect it now.
I'm sure they must have come down by now.
I have no clue what's going on with that. Yes, so, did you show Diane your reports, or?
No,
Tammy's getting them.
Tammy's making.
Oh, printing them
copies,
out.
yeah.
I don't understand why would we need a smoking policy, but it's not so inside the apartments.
See, that's the thing, I'm having a hard time getting a commitment even from Carolina Gonzalez. I asked her for a clarification on smoking, the HCD smoking policy, and she sends me back a list 1.5 miles long of every community in Massachusetts and where they offer smoking cessation classes.
Really?
So, you want me to tell people to go to smoking cessation?
So
Please.
smoking has become an issue here
It's working out to be, yeah.
because there's more of them, or what?
There's more of them. There's cigarette butts over in front of the gazebo. There's cigarette butts over there. People are leaning up against the building smoking. They're not 15 feet away, so we need to... Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, one of them that Tammy asked me to do something about was a space heater policy, and I had no clue of it, so that's just a real rough thing right off the top of my head. I'd like to consider this a first reading, seeing as if the board is not here in full. I don't want to pass these policies today, if that's all right with everybody. Take it up at the next meeting.
Where's the space heater one, Don?
Okay, it ran on into my opening remark. Here's what.
Okay.
Okay, so every heating season, we hear of devastating fires that are caused by space heaters. These are sad statistics to hear about every year. Granby Housing Authority provides heat to each and every tenant. Please, there are no space heaters allowed. We don't want anyone on Granby Housing Authority property to become a devastating blaze. Well, whatever. Okay, so that's pretty simple. I don't know, Tammy, like I said, I didn't have
Do
more.
we
Yeah,
have-
I can elaborate on that.
Do we have any space?
We don't have a space heater policy.
No, is there anybody using space heaters?
There were a couple of tenants that did have space heaters in their apartments. Jim found out about it and explained asked them why they had them and explained the dangers of them. Turns out they didn't realize that their bathroom heat could be turned on. So and that was most of it, so that kind of did that. A lot of the housing authorities are putting policies into place that states you're not allowed to have them. There are a couple housing authorities that have put it into place where they are a specific brand that the maintenance department has talked with the fire department on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, and gone that route. I think that it's something that should be put into place, especially here, not necessarily just here, but up at Hillside. I'd hate to see a tenant, something happen in a tenant's apartment because they're, especially with the cost of electricity up there, running a space heater to keep warm instead of purchasing oil.
Do they have to pay for their own heat up there?
Yes.
And is it
their
all,
electricity?
Yeah, they pay all their utilities up at Hillside.
and all of them do they have electric or oil or what?
It's all oil.
All oil? Okay. All right, so our policy would cover
Them also.
them also, okay.
I have a question, Tammy, about all the policies. Do they apply to them as well? Oh, okay. All right.
The Granby Housing Authority, and they were part of that.
The only thing that doesn't apply to them is the snow removal. They're responsible for their own walkways and their driveways.
Okay. Okay. Next is a unit mini blind policy. If a tenant needs to have a broken mini blind replaced, maintenance will install them. However, with pricing increases and some availability issues, the tenant will be charged the discounted rate that Granby Housing Authority pays for the mini blinds. That's pretty straightforward.
But why is this a problem?
Do they have to have mini blinds in their windows?
We provide so it was my understanding that they were provided, it's a uniform and it looks good. We have one tenant that just wasn't complaining about the broken mini blinds, and it was bothering more tenants than it was her.
But do they have to have blinds?
So-
Can they just have curtains?
They can have curtains if
You can
if
put
they
a hole
want.
up for the
When they move in, when an apartment is empty, they go through and they replace the blinds. So when a tenant moves in, the blinds are, there's nothing wrong with them, they're brand new. Using the same blinds from us, there's no damage into the windows. It's not having a nail hole here and then the next person comes in and it's a nail hole there. We've replaced approximately 50 shades in the last 2 years. The tenants, they look out and they flip them down and they break them. Or they push their couch or their chair up against the back of it and and it breaks them. Those are the, where they have a cat. And the cat, and the cat climbs it. Or, so it's become an expense. It's $15 a shade, or 14 something a shade. So the expense does get up there. There are housing authorities that have a policy, there are housing authorities that don't, that just allow them to do whatever.
Right now, if a blind is broken, maintenance replaces it. End of discussion, that's
End of
it.
And we
discussion.
pay for it,
And we
the
pay,
housing-
the housing authority pays for it.
And this policy wants to,
Charge them?
Charge them what our cost would be. So that way we're getting them at a discounted rate.
and then they're installed by maintenance?
Right.
No more new holes or
Right.
anything like that? Because if you put up a curtain, you gotta put up a curtain rod and you're making holes or trying to make holes.
Well, the maintenance people could put fix the hardware up, but if they want to, if they don't want to have blinds and they just want to have a curtain, the rod would be in place for that
Well, we don't
already.
know that, I mean.
Because all you do
it's
is,
not
all you
allowed,
do
is
is
it?
taking the clips out and putting the blind in and putting the
Yeah.
clips back.
Right.
in.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
That's all you're doing.
I
And
don't
there-
think the curtain is a good idea because, you know, you have to look for.
Like if you had, so if they had these the holes in the wall for the rods.
Right, but
if they-
everybody's curtain and their rod would be
Yeah.
different.
It'd be all
Yeah, that's
different.
gonna be a wild thing, yeah.
There is something to be said for the uniformity
Yeah.
that the mini blinds offer
Yeah.
as you pull into Fincilla.
I
You
have-
know, it's just like the
yeah.
people that plant flowers. That enhances the flavor of the community
Yeah.
in
Right.
terms of
It-
the looks.
I mean, I have blinds myself, I'm not against blinds, but.
It seems to be the same, if you go back in the 2 years, there are a couple apartments that they're always breaking them. They're always, you know, oh, yep, it cracked, oh, you know.
Okay,
So it, you know, in trying to.
so if they have to pay for it, they'll stop breaking them. Or they'll pay for it, period.
I have a couple that are cat rearranged.
Mm-hmm.
The cat did that.
I started putting them in my upstairs, I still have the blinds that you turn a rod and open them and close them.
Yeah.
And my downstairs, in my kitchen, I installed the ones that are just one piece and you just push them up and then
Oh, yeah.
pull them down at night.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't have,
The strings. to do.
yeah, no strings, no.
Well, that's what these are.
things.
There's
That's
no,
what these
you don't
are,
have to, so these in here are the strings,
Yeah,
but the ones
other
that
ones-
go into the
Apartments.
tenants' apartments,
Just
you
pull
now
up,
just
pull down.
lift up and pull down.
That's the new way to do it.
yeah. So they're out of the way during the day, you know, whatever. And the nice thing about them, if you want, you can pull the top down and leave the bottom closed.
Oh,
Mine are these kinds, so I didn't know those existed.
Yes, yeah, yeah, go to Ocean State, or something, yeah. Fran and I had fun putting them up, I'll tell you. Don't ask two people to put up a blind, takes you 35 minutes, it really takes you a whole day and a half. You gotta figure out how to put the screw in and which way to
Did
turn
you
it,
anticipate
whatever.
any pushback on this amongst the
on the
tenants?
blinds, I don't anticipate pushback on that. I anticipate pushback on the next one. In fact, if you don't see me at the next meeting, that means the natives got restless.
He's still at the meeting down in whatever he's going to.
So you say it's about 50 blinds a year?
I pulled the reports and went through them, and since January 1st of 2020, we have replaced approximately 50 blinds.
That's a lot.
That is a
So
lot.
that's $700? And where does that $700 come from?
Maintenance from the materials.
Materials?
Tammy, is that both properties or just this property?
That's just this
Just
property.
this property?
It is a lot.
Yeah.
Well, yes, especially if you only have 56 units here, and you've got,
But how many windows in each one have a blind? How many? Four?
how many windows in each unit?
How many windows do you have in your apartment?
We've got 6. 6. Two over the sink,
Yeah.
and 2 in the bedroom.
Yeah, that's
Some
not-
have 4, some have 6.
That's 50's a lot then.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're not making a vote on this, but
No,
I think
but I
we're
will,
kind of in agreement that,
I will put it into better,
Better
Okay.
language, yeah.
Better
whatever
language.
the-
Okay. The next one is the smoke-free policy.
And what's the smoking policy now?
The smoking policy now is you can smoke 15 feet away from the buildings.
And that's been in place for how long?
That's been in place since I've been here.
I believe that's been in place since the state went smoke-free with the apartments, so that would have
But it
been.
wasn't always, because I've been in
No.
apartments where people.
Probably 2012-ish, I want to say.
So So most people do smoke 15 feet away from the building?
No.
They're getting
closer.
lazy.
They're getting closer and closer to the buildings.
Right.
And
Because,
I'm hearing a lot of complaints about, I smell smoke and this and that. We do have one tenant down this side who has a lot of lung issues and is way up in years and has been through a lot of different surgeries as well. And she can smell the smoke even from the 15 feet, so that's not good. Then we have others that 2 or 3 inches away from the door, especially on a rainy day, because there's a little bit of overhang on some of the buildings. Excuse me. There's also people that throw their butts on the ground. That's becoming
that's what smokers do, right? Unfortunately.
unfortunately, that's what smokers do.
So-
But when there's some butts in front of the gazebo, I left them there. But there are butts right in front of the gazebo, and it's like, are you smoking in the gazebo? It's posted no smoking in there. Or is it just that you're walking around and decided you're going to dispose of it there?
Well, they're not smoking in the gazebo. They're standing off of the gazebo. They're just standing right there.
Right.
So, your solutions are,
My solutions are, and this, Tammy helped me out, she got a bunch of smoking policies from other housing authorities. For example, Munson Housing, you can't smoke anywhere on their grounds. South Hadley, I know my sister-in-law lives at one of the developments for the South Hadley Housing Authority, and they have a public bus stop that they have to go to in the front, and then there's a section way in the back, I believe, where there's a bench where they can smoke. Barry is what, Tammy? You have a smoking area there?
They have a gazebo, which is specifically for smoking, and then they have benches that are, probably 25 to 30 feet away from the buildings.
I smell it right now. I smelled it about 20 minutes ago. Somebody's smoking near enough that I can smell.
Which brings me to one, and wait a minute, let me finish one thought at a time. So that's South Hadley, Wilbraham, absolutely no smoking on the grounds. Amherst, Holyoke, Chicopee, Springfield are also smoke-free grounds. And then I go into a definition of smoking. I stole all this material from other housing
That's
authorities.
fine,
But I
that's
like
what-
the wording.
Yeah.
I like the wording.
That's-
Smoking shall include the combustion of any cigarette, cigar, pipe tobacco, roll your own tobacco, or other like substance, including marijuana. The use of so-called electronic cigarettes, vapor pens, e-hookah pipes, e-pipes, or other like products shall be deemed smoking. Use of the FDA-approved cessation products shall not be deemed smoking.
Isn't it gum?
Yeah, well, you can chew gum, and you can,
What else would be like a cigarette?
like a cigarette, nothing like a cigarette is, that would be deemed smoking.
So
Any-
there's a cessation product that is,
You chew gum, yeah, there's nicotine gum and nicotine lozenges, and there's the nicotine patch.
okay. I didn't know if there was a substitute,
No,
kind of thing.
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, okay.
so you've got some recommendations here
I
of
do.
areas.
I do. If we keep a smoking policy where there is smoking, I proposed at one point each end of the patio. Now, it's definitely 15 feet away from this building. And there's, that side can be building 1 and 2, so everybody's walking an equal distance to get here. It is handicap accessible. There's a ramp sidewalk type thing on this side, so it is wheelchair accessible. Makes sense to me, and it's a use of the patio.
Well, if you did that, maybe you could get a couple of those
Oh, yeah.
little containers that you put your butts in.
Well, the problem with that is they start on fire if they don't stick them out. But we'd work on that once like I would get benches, to put some sort of seating out there besides the tables. But
So those
having
are-
it here pulls it away from the living areas so it doesn't interfere with tenants that have breathing issues.
So those would be the 2 designated areas in this facility. What about up on Amherst Street?
on Amherst Street. They have to go outside to smoke, and they, honestly, I'm not sure where they smoke up there, or who smokes up there.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And there
So
was
that-
another option. There's 4 benches, park bench type benches on the property. One's in front of building 1 and one's in front of building 4. Both of those benches are too close to the buildings to use those. The benches in front of building 2 and 3 are far enough from that, but I just noticed that it's pretty close to that mailbox over there, so I don't know if some people would get offended about that. My preference is my last proposal. Don't allow it at all. Just make it easy.
6 out of your 7 towns you mentioned did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to get clarification from DHCD, but like I was saying earlier, Carolina simply sent me a mile-long list of each town alphabetically and where they can go for cessation courses, which doesn't answer the question. It just poo-poos me away.
What is, presently, what's happened to the smokers who are smoking within 15 feet of the building? What's happened?
When I get a complaint and I can, honestly see that they're not, that they were within, like, most of the problem we have is down on building 1, only because,
That's over there?
right, and I've spoken to the tenant that doesn't. And, I've had a couple conversations with him, and he gets it. So hopefully.
So are most of the smokers following this policy? Because if they are,
No.
I don't think there's any reason to it. Not that I'm against smoking, but I think if people are following the policy, why are you going to punish them if they're doing what they've been told
Like
to do?
the one person in building 2 that smokes, literally she will walk depending on the weather. If it's yucky out or cold out, she's closer to her building. And if it's nice out, she is farther away from the building. Building 1, he's in a wheelchair, so he thought he was just rolling down to the end, not realizing it's still too close to the other apartment.
So where is he going to go if you ban smoking on the ground? Where's he
Right
going to go?
over here. Oh, he's not gonna
Well,
go.
I'm not in favor of banning it altogether, only because we're on a highway, and there is no way for them to go down by the street to safely.
Yeah.
So I personally, I mean, I don't like the smell of smoke, just at all, but up here is the best solution for it. Or make designated areas, that either the bench in front of 2, the bench in front of 3, or up here in front of.
Well, if you put it in front of the benches of those 2 buildings, the smoke, depending on the wind, can blow into somebody's apartment when they
Right.
got the windows open in the
Right.
summertime
Yep.
or something, so you're still,
Right.
there's a possibility still. But if they're here, if they're in back of this building, at least they're away from
Right.
living apartments.
Agreed.
But
And then
how-
people will be able to use the patio for once.
how-
They don't use it now, so
Nobody
they
uses
would
it
be,
anyways.
they would be forced to use it
So you don't
because
need
they'd
2
have
areas,
to.
just make it in the middle there.
Well,
Period.
that's,
Why pick
I
another
just,
one?
Well, there are, I mean, anywhere on the back patio is fine. There are tenants that do come out in the summertime, in the nice weather, when they're doing their laundry, they do sit outside.
Okay, wait, let's talk about winter, a storm, ice. You're telling me the gentleman in building 1 is gonna take his wheelchair and come all the way out here to smoke 3 times a day, 6 times a day, I don't know how many times he smokes, but.
Well, he's either not gonna.
Unrealistic, that kind of policy, I mean, I don't know what to do about that.
We
but
did-
I don't know what to do about the guy the gentleman in building 4 that spends the entire day leaned up against the building with a butt hanging out of his mouth.
But he's been spoken to.
I've never, today I think was the first time I saw him leaning up against the building with a cigarette in his mouth.
Every day.
Yeah.
So there's no way that guy's gonna come over here and smoke every cigarette.
He's outside smoking, that's the plus
That's
for
what?
him. He's outside smoking, that's a plus for
People
him.
smoke inside their apartments. You get complaints about that.
Well, I mean, that is better
And
than
that,
smoking in the
the
apartment.
hard part about that is I have to have proof. I can't just go up and say, well, I was told.
Yeah.
There has to be actual proof from an employee of the housing authority. So if we were to go to court, they are in court saying, this is what happened.
And if he's doing that all day long, don't your employees see it?
I'm aware of that.
Oh, I've had one of the maintenance guys come up to me and say, yeah, he's out back again
So
today.
they've seen it. But do your cameras catch any of that?
Not in the back.
I would have to have.
In the back.
The problem with the cameras is you can catch them on it. If you were to see somebody out smoking, just call the office and say, I just saw by building 4, so I have a time. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
I can spend all day long watching a video
Yeah.
to try and possibly catch somebody in the front of a building doing something.
So if you have no smokers and we're not going to ban smoking on the property, wouldn't you rather have them out the back door smoking than in their apartments smoking?
Yeah, out the back door,
I
out the
would.
front door, they just have to.
Why is that a problem for anyone else? That's
They're
what I
not going far enough away from the building, and those that don't smoke are complaining that the smoke is coming in the building. I have one tenant who has a medical condition that it affects. She has the right to peaceful enjoyment of her apartment without having to deal with something that's going to trigger something on her.
Well, if you have a designated area, like back here, and you have enforcement issues, you set up an enforcement plan like you've got listed here, 2, 3 strikes and you're out, then they know that there are going to be consequences if they are caught, or if people report it and they're able to prove it. And then you give them a written notice, you give them a verbal notice, you give them a written notice, and then you give them an eviction.
Even if it was to the driveway.
Trying to punish them,
Not
why
the
don't you
dri-
offer them help to stop
Ooh,
smoking?
there you go.
Well, you can give them the information, but you can't bring them.
If they were to go to the driveway, if they were to just go down to the driveway and not on the sidewalks, then I think that they would be far enough away, unless it's a very windy day and it,
You can't control that.
and you can't control
And the wind is
that.
going to dissipate it greatly.
Right. So, I personally think that that way they're still moving far. It gives them an actual,
So that you could change it to saying you need to go down to the driveway.
right, you can't be on the sidewalks or on the grassy area, you have to go down to the actual driveway, not
And that
the
would
end of the roads, but
For
on
more
the-
than 15 feet away.
you're more than 15 feet away,
And it's telling you where you need to be.
right. It
So that-
doesn't matter whether you're in front of your apartment or somebody else's, you have to be down on that.
So that
Or
this
these
lead
corners.
is got her hand up.
Yep.
We still have someone who was smoking outside the door, and putting them in a can outside the door, and it sat there, and I kept calling them to get rid of it. So all of a sudden, that vanished, and all the cigarettes are on this floor on the sidewalk.
Okay, so when you see him standing outside doing that, call the office and leave a message. I'm just calling to let you know that there's someone outside the building smoking. And
At this
and
time.
At this time, and, and then I can, when you call the office, it tells me what time you called and what day you called, and at least it gives me a spot to look on the cameras to have the proof to say, yes, you were not away.
I don't want to, I'm an ex-smoker. I don't want to dictate, you can't smoke here, you can't smoke there, but there's cigarette butts all over the place, and there are health issues that need to be considered.
Well,
That's my only,
I think going from what we have now to a total ban is quite a drastic change for some of our smokers.
yeah.
So they can move out, that's their option.
Move out to the driveway, like you suggest.
Yes.
I mean,
That's a good start.
picture the snowstorm. How are they gonna do that? I mean, that's the thing. You can make all these rules, but they're not gonna go out there in a snowstorm.
Well,
Stick their head out the door again.
do you want to have it just a total ban? Is that what
No,
you're
I don't think
thinking?
that's the most practical thing. I don't think so. I think if you make a designated area near each building, and maybe on the corners here, and then you start strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. I mean, what else can you do? You've made it as easy as you can. I don't know what else to do.
Well, if you have, I don't know.
So nothing's really, any incidences in the last 2 months of people who were smoking closer than 15 feet that have been
Yes.
addressed? I mean,
I don't know about
there's,
addressed.
someone can show me a complaint, an issue? If it has, so we're not even addressing what we have on place. I'm not
So
saying
I-
blaming you, but I'm saying you're only here, but,
I have spoken to one gentleman only because I have caught him.
okay, has
And
it,
so
did that make a
when
difference?
it's, and yes, it has.
Okay, so that's good, that's
So
good.
there are, but I don't, that was this way. I haven't seen
Okay.
anything that way.
Okay.
And there was a complaint that of all the cigarette butts on the ground. But again, I don't have time to sit and watch a video all day long to see if who's over there, who's, I don't have time for that. I
Right, but
haven't
if
time
you
to get
don't-
my stuff done.
But if smoking is allowed
So-
on the ground, you're gonna have
Yeah.
butts there.
Right.
You're gonna have butts, because that's what unfortunately smokers do.
If somebody
Or
sees
not
someone
everyone.
throwing on the ground, hey, pick that up.
And if they say no,
Then call me.
It's just like
why would you do
having,
anything about
Right, but I mean, I would just kind of say, this is where you live. Why are you littering? Why are you making it, and go that route? But you can't,
Yeah,
you can't
there's not much
force
you can do
someone to
about
do
that.
anything.
It's the same reason why people throw trash out of their cars.
Right.
It's like,
That's
what's the
what
matter
I'm
with
saying.
you?
What are you
Right.
gonna do?
What are you
about
gonna
it?
do?
If there are places that ban it, they're really lucky that they can do it anywhere.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there were places that ban it.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the law, but it's a law.
I think if you ban it, you're gonna have people smoking in their
Yeah.
apartment.
I wouldn't ban it. I wouldn't ban it.
You're gonna have
I
people
would put
smoking in their
about
apartments
1, 2,
anyway.
3, 4, 5
That's what I
places where
say.
they can smoke. Over here is perfect. And they do plow it in the winter.
Yeah, this is all cleared in the winter, so they can take their wheelchair and go on the sidewalk and go around where it's,
That's one of the hazards of being a smoker. You take the good with the bad. Yeah, we're coming into the beautiful weather, so everybody wants to be outside. But, the cravings don't stop on a rainy or snowy
That's
day.
what I'm saying.
And you have to take, but you have to take the good with the bad. So you get bundled up, you go for a walk away from the buildings.
And I'm gonna say 90% of the time, they will not.
well,
So you're leaning towards making areas or moving towards the driveway? What do you, because we're not talking about banning yet.
Can you do both? Can you?
I don't
We could do both.
driveways and- Yeah.
Yeah.
why
we
can't
could
you have the
say
ones
that
here
it's
and then
either-
the end of the driveway on each side?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then make a nice little area.
Right, and I have a map, and I can just highlight it to see,
Maybe we can put a sign where the smoking would be allowed.
Smoking area.
right.
yeah.
We can do it on the PDF we have for the parking and change it to smoking.
But I'm gonna say most of the smokers are gonna say, yeah, I'll do that once in a while, and then they go right back to their old habits.
Well, try a change and see if it makes a difference, And hopefully it'll cut down the complaints, and I don't know what else we can do.
Well, they have to start thinking, where else are they gonna go if it's already banned in 6 out of 7 other housing authorities, banned completely on the property? They better start thinking, well, maybe I better follow the rules here.
My cousin, well, not my cousin, my wife's cousin lives in Hoyoke Housing.
There's no smoking.
And he's got one of those little powerized wheelchairs. He's got to go around out the back doorway where there's a ramp. He's on the fourth floor. So he goes downstairs onto the ramp, drives himself down the driveway and out onto the public sidewalk. That's where they have to
How
smoke.
many times a day does he do that?
He probably lives out there.
How's he get through the
Yeah,
night?
but he also smokes in his apartment.
Yeah, that.
So what do you want to do with the smoking? Then you going to make a change now, or we need to vote on something, or you want to?
Let's just make
One of the
table it for now. We'll
I'll work on tweaking it this
One of the
this month.
gentlemen
And
that, well, he's in the laundry room right now, but he had a comment about having somebody come up and, like somebody that comes in like, to prevent smoking, to help them to stop smoking, that kind of a class. That it would be maybe some organization would have a class on how to teach, how to help you to stop smoking, or how to help you to, like AA has drinking classes. I'm sure that there's organizations that would.
I'm sure that if somebody wanted to stop smoking, they would get a hold of their doctor, or they would do something on that. I mean, I don't think it's,
If they wanted to quit smoking, they'd have done it by now.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
They just don't want to.
So you'd have a population of none if we sponsor something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
agreed.
both ex-smokers,
Yeah.
For years ago, we smoked.
Yeah, I am too, and, whatever, and my mother stopped when she had a heart attack and she couldn't hardly move, so then
Don,
she
do any of the
finally
tenants
stopped.
know you were bringing forth a thought on smoking?
There's some that know, and one of the ones that know, I'm sure it's pretty well spread around here.
And what was the reaction?
I've got mixed reaction. I'm still gonna smoke in my car.
Well, if they want
Good
to
idea.
go.
I don't care if they smoke in the car,
The
it's
cars help you on
fine.
the driveway, so.
It's fine.
Well, Tammy and I talked about that. You can't stop people from smoking in their own vehicles.
No.
What's the percentage of people who smoke here?
Probably less than 10%.
Well, I think if we,
There are not a lot of smokers
That's
here.
less than 5 or 6?
You know,
Well, no, so
a
there's,
lot of them probably follow the present policy, would you say? Is that a fair
so
assumption?
there's 1, 2,
This guy over here is really trying, I think.
there's probably 6 people that smoke cigarettes.
And what else?
Marijuana is something entirely different.
Yeah.
do we have that
We
issue?
have more marijuana smokers than we have cigarette smokers.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I only thought one
Legal,
was...
so fine.
Is there some way if we had parking, I mean, if we said they could go to the end of the parking on each side, is there some way to, like, put a bench there so they could at least, have a little section that could have a little bench, they could sit there and smoke, and it would be almost near the end of the driveway? And over here, of course, you'd have a little something on each corner here if you want to do the corners.
Well, I'm not saying they have to go to the end of the driveway, they have to be on the driveway. They have to come down from their
By the
apartment
car, to
the
onto the
driveway.
semicircle.
They can get hit.
Near the road.
No, no.
Just in the driveway?
Just in the
Oh, that's
driveway.
silly to have that.
Well, what do you want for your...
Why would you want them to go down by the end of the
I mean, if they're
road?
gonna stand in the middle of the driveway and smoke.
Which is,
Just down to the driveway where the...
right, so they just have to walk down to the driveway, not the entrance ways, but
Okay.
anywhere on the semicircle.
There's a sidewalk
More than
there. Is it
15
the
feet away from the
sidewalk or
building.
Just be on the sidewalk,
Just beyond the sidewalk?
onto the
Well,
blacktop.
you're gonna have to designate that, for sure.
Right, I have a map that we use for parking, that we can take the parking stuff out and put designated smoking area on it and get it
One of
out.
those collecting for the butts, those things that, oh, you said they catch fire.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I think if you, wherever you could say, if you have 4 designated places to smoke, or 2 designated spaces, here and here, and then in the driveway. If you say that, then that's it. And then you have your policy here that if you're caught in any other area about that, then you have your violation policy, and that would be the 1, 2, 3 designation.
Yep.
The policy that you would have.
It should work.
So something like that, I think, that, at least then they can still smoke if they want to. If they want to drive out and stand in the driveway somewhere, they can smoke. Do you know what's going to happen? The butts will be all over the driveway. Because they'll just drop them, crash them out.
Well, at least in the
and then-
driveway, they're easier to sweep up than they are in the grass.
Catch the lawn on fire or anything
Right.
else when the summer gets dry
Yeah.
and the grass gets dry.
Right.
What's your poison?
Or else they can sit in their
Right.
driveway. But at least they're away from the building. The policy
Of
is
course, then
away
you're gonna
from.
have someone say, I got out of my car and there was a cloud of smoke. I mean, just saying, that's gonna happen.
Uh,
Oh, of course that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, you know,
Well, you can't solve everything.
Well,
You
yeah.
gotta try
6 out of
to,
7 housing authorities did
Right.
we can do that.
on this paper. So I'm
We
just
can
saying,
try to
I wonder
do
how
that.
it's working for them. What do they say?
They,
There's gotta be people sneaking
Yeah.
smoking
Sure
on
there
there,
are.
and what are they doing to
the
it?
only one I really know is South Hadley, and only because I've talked to her at different events, and I know that she's had tenants smoking in her apartment. She's, looked at
Do they
different
have a
options.
no smoking ban there?
Right, but,
Gotta go to the bus stop.
right.
Yeah.
Well, you're better to,
But, I mean, that, you're looking at Newton Manor, I think is the one with the bus stop.
Is that the
No,
one
that's
across-
Lathrop.
Oh, Lathrop has the, oh, wow, okay. Because I was gonna say Newton Manor, the bus stop is right there.
That's the little
Yeah.
tiny one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right, Newton, you just gotta walk up to the
right,
Yeah.
up to the bench.
bench, and that's it.
Yeah,
You're
and they
good.
all do.
Okay.
I mean, I see them up there all the time in the nice weather.
What do they do
Well-
in the bad weather?
Huh?
What do they do in the bad weather?
smoke
I
in their
don't see people
apartment.
out there in the
See,
bad
this
weather.
is what I'm saying. They're gonna do what they're gonna do.
At least if you give them
your best.
options, you give them some kind of an option, and if it's reasonable, then they'll follow it.
They won't.
Yeah. Well, okay,
Well, you got
Can-
a little bit of better chance that
Yes,
they
you have
would
a better
follow it.
chance, but they're not gonna do it.
Not gonna be 100% anywhere, any way you do it. If you
Right.
ban it completely, they're gonna smoke in their apartment
Yeah.
or smoke somewhere anyway and try to sneak it.
Yep.
yeah.
So,
So can we just say we'll table it, Tammy can tweak it a little bit, and we'll represent it next week, next meeting, and then vote yea or nay?
I don't know, do we follow Robert's rules of order here or no?
For the most part,
Yeah.
kind of like what?
Remote.
Well, what I'm saying is that if you're going to do that, you have to, and you're going to vote on it, you have to present it 2 weeks before the meeting. In Robert's rules, you have to do something like that. If
Present it to who? What do you mean, present your proposal?
she would have to send a proposal out 2 weeks
us.
before to us, and then we would vote on it at the next meeting.
How we've done it is bring it to the next, we discuss it at one meeting, we bring it to the next meeting and discuss it in its entirety, and then the following month, we've always
So it's a
voted on.
3-month
So it's been a
situation,
3-month
right.
Couple, at
thing.
least 2 or 3 readings
Right,
of it with,
right.
with adjustments.
Whatever you
Right.
want to do, you can do that too. But if you do it Roberts, or you send it 2 weeks ahead of time, and then, then you can come back and order it at the, you can vote on it at that meeting, if you send it out 2 weeks ahead of time. But if you want to just do it from, each meeting, that's fine too,
Okay.
whichever one you just choose to do.
All right, and then next, in,
And while you're doing that, as if you can get a list of all the policies that we have.
yep,
And at least for us to have. So that way that can all
Yep,
get
I wrote that down.
incorporated
Got it.
right into the whole thing. So we will have one list of all the policies that are in effect at this time.
do you want May 17th, or do you,
I think
we are
we-
at the end of the month for this meeting because it was the annual plan, and I
Yeah.
had, that's a date thing, that you have to have it in so many days. Do we want to do May 17th or May
So
24th?
we're not doing April?
Oh, April, yeah, I'm like a whole month.
Oh, no, not the 24th.
So,
That's right.
It's your birthday?
Yeah, the 24th.
And you celebrate all?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I don't want to come to a board meeting on my birthday. Come on.
We can have a cake. Yeah. We can have a party. We can invite all the tenants to come to your party.
Yeah, and all tenants.
I'd like to do April 26th.
What day of the week?
It's a Wednesday. It's the last Wednesday, only because the 17th, we are not here. It's a holiday.
Yeah.
And I'm out of town.
Patriots Day.
Patriots Day.
And what about,
What time?
what about May? Look ahead to May,
Is it
please.
2 o'clock?
2 o'clock? May would either be the 17th or the 24th, depending on what you wanted to do.
Well, I'm saying that because our friend here is not going to be on the
Oh,
board.
that's right, he's not gonna be with us any longer.
You'll have a new person on the 17th or the 24th.
No, nobody's taken out any paperwork.
Until June? Or until
May
end of
15th
May?
is,
Election's May 15th,
May 15th is his date.
town election.
He gave us in that thing that we just looked at.
What thing?
May 15th is Jim's last day.
This form that we had, if you go in the beginning, it tells you who's paid, who's effective, and who's staying on, and who's next to get off and on, and whatever. Somewhere in...
In the
no,
actual
no,
plan, in the actual
in the
plan,
plan.
it
In the
lists
plan
the,
Yeah, I
itself.
saw that.
In the play itself. The next one is Joe, well, this is Jim, and then it's Joe,
And it's me.
and then it's you, and then it's me. I might end up being the only one here by that time.
Might be.
It'll be me.
You'll be petrol.
Yeah, you and you will still be here, too,
Unless the
yes.
governor takes offense,
Yep, you
I will
will.
have to work on.
Yep, you
it's the
will.
only way out.
Tim, is there any public comment? What do you have?
Sir, did you want anything to say? Did you have anything to say that you would like
I
to?
was informed that policy that we have here.
He wanted to speak to something on his lease.
Not by the
Oh,
board.
that would,
So,
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
he wanted to discuss something on his lease,
Yeah, that's
and that's not the
I wanted to discuss
board.
something about my lease where we are allowed to have guests for 21 or 24 days per 12-month period. But I was informed that I can't do that through this board, I have to do it through Boston.
21 days of the year?
21 day of a 12-month period.
So you
In other
could,
words, if I had a guest in September, I'll stay there for 10 days. I can't have another guest, I can have another guest for another 12 days up through September, and then the time changes again.
Yeah.
So it's in a continuous
12-month.
rotation status. The problem I'm having is I have my son with me now, and his dog, it's his emotional support dog, and he went through a very, very bad breakup with his girlfriend. His girlfriend decided to use a lot of drugs. He doesn't want to be involved in that, so he moved out. The only safe place he could have came to was his dad, was me.
right.
As I send, Tammy, what do I got, like 4 days or 5 days left?
Probably 5.
5 days.
I
I got about
think.
5 days left that he can stay with me. After that, it's a violation of my lease, and I could lose my place to stay. I was hoping I could ask this board to maybe help me somehow for a couple of weeks till we can get to the end of the month so he can get his own place. But like Tammy informed me, that's not what I can do here.
yeah.
Okay.
Is there, can I rent a place for a month,
No.
an empty place?
No, you have to go through all the apartments are rented through the Champ portal, so no, you can't rent it for
There's
just a
nothing
month.
empty
Nope.
right now?
Nope. Well, we do have an empty apartment, but it's not something I can give you.
No, I understand that.
Does the
So-
Granby Hotel still have, like, public housing?
I'm
The Granby Hotel used to do,
weekly rentals.
no,
And daily.
yeah, they used to do state placements kind of thing.
Okay. Well, this is kind of, I don't want to see my son get involved. He's in recovery, he's been in recovery for over a year now. He wants to get away from his girlfriend because she is still using drugs.
Yeah, we
I
understand.
totally applaud him for doing it. But within a week's time, if we can't find a place for him, he's going to be home. I don't
Does he have a place to go after that month?
He's going to possibly, or probably, have a place to go that's going to be his own at the end of the month, or at the end of, the middle of next month. I'm not sure how the timing works. But it's a matter of waiting for that apartment to become vacant. But I totally understand that there's nothing this board can do.
All right.
I wonder if he could go, apply for a waiver through Boston. I mean, not from us,
No.
obviously.
There's, I mean, it's,
It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Yeah, I
understand.
get it, I understand, I don't want to be a violation. I hope my place is not one of those dirty places that you...
No,
Because believe me, my place looks like a warehouse right now. I got everything in there. But I appreciate the board's time for listening to my concerns.
Good luck.
Good luck. Any and all suggestions will be welcome.
I check out the Granby Motel. They renovated, they rebuilt some of the ones that burned. But
Okay.
when I was working outreach, there were a couple people living there who had kind of state-sponsored.
This wouldn't be a state-sponsored thing. This would be a personal thing where he's trying to maintain his sobriety.
Yeah.
He's got
you-
close to a year's
Well, there
sobriety
could be,
now.
I mean, if he's getting any services through the state of any kind, that could be a,
Food stamps,
well,
you know, that's about it.
I wonder if he could talk to Diane.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
how old is he?
37.
Oh, he's young.
And
Does he
Yeah,
have a
but
social
still.
worker?
I believe he does, yes.
Talk to a social worker.
He's part of a methadone clinic right now.
Talk to a social worker. Yeah.
Could they?
They
make
might
that
be able to
happen
give
within,
you
like,
an idea
hours?
for placement of temporary housing.
They have to call to see if the bed's available.
Yeah, social worker.
Well, the problem is the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you could, you could,
You could board the dog for 2 weeks.
if it's an emotional support animal, it's
Oh.
gotta go with
Oh, right.
the
With
person
Yeah. That's understandable.
and the chameleon.
well, you
Well,
keep
the social
the,
worker is your best
keep
bet.
the dog for a couple of days. He could keep
I know
the
chameleon
dog.
stops
No,
his
if the
fear
dog is an emotional
I understand.
support,
Dog is emotional.
then
his
he
emotional-
has
Well, there's
to
a
be
difference
with
between
the-
emotional support and there's two different,
You're right, there is. There's two different things, but if he's,
qualifications.
Hi, Granby Land.
if he's an emotional support animal,
What's
he
the
needs
other?
to service animal.
Yeah,
Service animal and emotional support animals,
two different,
two different
yeah.
categories, but they're protected under the same law.
Some of it is the same, but there is a difference, you know. I read that recently in the newspaper that, and on the, to that, there is a difference, and one is allowed everywhere and one isn't.
Right.
Right.
A service dog is allowed everywhere. Emotional support animal, you have to have papers
Right.
with you
Right,
at the time.
right.
But they have basically the same rights.
Oh, yes.
The pet has the same rights.
Yeah. Well, like Diane said, I would, you know, use your,
Yeah, social worker.
I would have him contact the social worker immediately.
Yeah.
There's
and
no
call,
way I could have him be my assistant for a couple of weeks because I pulled my, got a pinched nerve in my butt here. And I'm in a lot of pain right now. That can't happen, right? No?
No.
All right, well, like I say, I'm willing to listen to any and all options. I'll have them contact the social worker at the clinics. Maybe, hopefully, they can do something in the next few days.
Yeah.
If not, I don't know how we're gonna work this out. To rent a hotel room, it's about $100 a day, plus.
oh, yeah, I know.
You know, so I'm looking at several thousands of dollars before his apartment is ready.
You can try the YMCA, see if they've got any rooms, the YMCA in Springfield.
Again, the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Does your son want to have a roof over his head? I know he's a support dog.
Would you like to wear your pants every day? It's the same thing with the dog, with this dog.
Okay,
Okay, so this is
okay.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
The dog is part of his recovery. It's a part of his emotional part.
Well, maybe they would let him go if he had that designation at the
I don't know how
YMCA.
the Y would pull it off.
Well, talk to your service, talk to your,
Another option, that's all.
We'll see. We'll see. Again, I appreciate this board's time. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you, Deanna.
Yep.
At least I know I'm not the dirty part.
You all set, Diane, or do you have anything? Okay. All right.
Did we pick May or are we not picking?
that doesn't matter. I was hoping we'd be able to squeeze it in before the 15th,
Before the
but it's
15th.
not
I
gonna
wondered where you were
happen.
going.
Well, he could always just come just to come.
We're gonna write him in. He wants to be written in. I know he does.
Oh my
That's happened many times before, and I know how to answer that.
know.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Okay.
It's nothing against any of you, it's just that, you know, I'm gonna back off and I've given a lot of time to the community, so I'll
Yes, you have,
You have,
and thank you.
continue.
all right. So we're
Motion
just
to
sticking with
adjourn.
April
But then, wait,
26th for
Did you
now.
ever talk to the Lions Club about painting the?
Oh, yeah,
something that
about
you were-
painting the hallways?
Well, I have the help if needed, but we gotta have permission first, I guess, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay, so I would just need a copy of the liability certificate.
Yeah, I'll get that, I can get that from Lions International.
and
It covers
then-
like $1 million or so, so.
Yep, and then we can get,
Well, I just offered us a possible help to do some of that.
That we didn't follow through on it, and I just thinking about.
Jim's asked me, it's just a matter of, he was wondering when, so I'll have him start on his end and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'll talk. We always trying to do other service projects, so we're just giving something back without asking people for money. you know.
What are we
Service.
painting?
The hallways.
Always, that's what I thought, yeah. Would you
All right.
mind doing that?
Only other thing
We've got to
I,
do some painting at the historical building. We got to do the whole front room there.
Okay.
only other thing I do is I need a signature, since Joe's not here. It is for the paperwork for the regional legal with Elaine, because John Leibel retired. Elaine is, we just need it with her name on it.
Okay.
So that's it.
a libelous attorney.
No, not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
3:35.
All those in favor?
Aye.